in the political range? Would it be a political decision, or shall I say a geopolitical decision? And in this respect, how key or decisive is that you get the support of the U.S. government? And are you optimistic or, I would say, confident that you will get the support of the U.S. government?
As I say, what entices me to participate in this process is that I feel that emerging markets should act in congruency with what they have been claiming before, and that is, if we want to have an open, unbiased, merit-based process, we need to present candidates. It's very difficult to break a tradition of 65 years, and it's very difficult to break it in a particular point in time where a major player, if not a major player in all this game, which is Europe, feels the need of this feeling that they have some control on the fund. Because really that is what is going on. I mean, given that the crisis is in Europe, Europe thinks that it needs, it requires to have that marginal edge on the institution. No? And that makes it more difficult, and I'm not fooling myself. I mean, it's like starting a soccer game with a 5-0 score. So it might end up 5-3, it might end 5-5, you might end up winning, but if you start 5-0, the chances that you will win are slim. No? But that doesn't take away the fact that this is a repetitive game. That doesn't take away that you have established precedent. That doesn't take away the fact that if emerging markets present good candidates, at some point the situation will be where the memberships might be enticed to give the opportunity to merit. No? Again, at this stage, I can say that Europe is not playing the game according to what they claimed in the G20. Why? Because they supported the candidate even before she was a candidate, and even before other candidates were presented. No? So the chances that Ms. Lagarde will be managing director are quite high, and I'm sure that she will make a good managing director. No? But it would have been much better if she gets elected if she were elected on a more transparent process. Now, we emerging markets might take more than one round to get to the final position. No? But if we don't start at some point, we will never get there. No? So our intentions is to raise the bar, also to invite emerging markets to be better coordinated in this process. No? And at the end of the day, just try to strengthen the process, even if we don't get immediate results.
Well, on behalf of Fred, who's not here, let me note that if you're going to start behind 5-0, it's probably better to be playing basketball. I'm going to take one from the back, and let me see the hands from the center of the room. Why don't we try right here? Yeah. Next, but after the gentleman.
Thank you. Danny Jiang Xufeng with China's Xinhua News Agency. Ms. Carstens, what's your comment on Mr. Stanley Fischer's effort to join the MD position competition? And what is the biggest advantage and the strengths, in your view, compared with Ms. Lagarde and Professor Fischer? Secondly, there are some critiques about your efforts to run for the MD job. Some people argue that a candidate from emerging market would not have the contacts and the superb expertise to manage the European debt crisis. Some people doubt that, as your man said, trained at Chicago University as market first, regulation last, might be a barrier for you in managing IMF when global cooperation is more critical. What's your response to that? Thank you.
Well, I think many of these questions are not for me to respond. respond. They're more for the board to respond. I will not get into openly discussing the relative weaknesses and strengths of Stan Fisher, Ms. Lagarde, and myself, Madame Lagarde and myself. I think that the three of us, we present a very solid triplet of options. I mean, that's what I have to say at this stage, and it's up to the board to make up their decision. The only one I would like to address, because it's something that I think that I need to express a point of view, is my education at the University of Chicago, and what many people have tried to make out of that. I'm extremely proud of being a University of Chicago graduate. I had superb professors as Mike Musa. I learned tremendously amount of economics there. But I have said this before. It's the education you get in Chicago or any other university only gives you the instruments to frame and to analyze economic problems you face. It is ridiculous to think that with what you learn in 3 years, in my case, you will be able to solve all the problems that you will face in the next 30 years. What I bring with me to the position is those 3 years of education of Chicago, but more than anything, what I have learned based out of that platform in the last 30 years as policymaker. And I have been exposed to many different circumstances. I think my record should be evaluated in terms of policy making, in terms of the solutions I have proposed, in terms of the decisions I have induced other countries to take. And most of them have been more than anything pragmatic. I mean, when you are in policy making, when you are in office, what you are evaluated by is results. You need to deliver results. And many of those results are provided not by what I learned in the University of Chicago. Yes, I have to say what I learned is behind my mind, and that I have given me tremendous ability to frame the problems, but you need to build on that, no? And your experience as policymaker, as public official, is what really has made the difference. So I don't think it's fair to judge somebody because he studied 3 years at the University of Chicago.
I'm Lee Price from the Institute for New Economic Thinking. I have a couple of quick questions. You mentioned the timing for the IMF to go in and intervene should depend on a sweet spot. S&P has just lowered Greece by several notches, and I'm wondering if you think Greece or Spain or Portugal are still in that sweet spot for the IMF to be involved going forward. Second, you talked about being 5-0 this time and wanting the game to be more even in the future for non-Europeans. You also talked about automaticity of the quotas going forward. Do you have a formula for how you would set those quotas in the future? Because there are many different ways to look at the size of economies, important economies. To make it automatic, there needs to be a formula that you can do that.
I think we haven't gotten to the point where the dynamics of the market have changed. So the programs still need to be perceived by the markets as credible. And that's still a goal that is out there. No? More clarity. I mean, the fund is right now addressing the programs that has been negotiated at the staff level. It still needs to be announced. But markets are very important reference. And once a credible program is achieved, then you see how the spreads start decreasing. And I think that should be the goal in what happens next during the next days. No? I mean, that should be the marker that needs to be hit by the policymakers and the authorities that are involved in this process. No? Now, what is your other question? Because you made several questions at the same time.
The question is about what formula would you have for automatic
there are many different formulas. I mean, it doesn't take rocket scientists to. I mean, first we need to agree on a formula, no? And then that formula needs to be updated periodically. There are many different aspects that will need to be taken into account. It's a very convoluted discussion. Do you take GDP at PPP levels? Do you take financial transactions? How do you weight each one or the other? I'm sure we can improve the formula we have today, and the resetting of that formula is what needs to be done on a more dynamic basis. Not let the gaps get so large as what we have today.
Let's take one more from the back.
Thanks. Howard Schneider with Washington Post. Thanks, Governor Carstens. A couple of things. First off, could you give us some insight into your meeting this morning with Secretary Geithner? And then back on Europe, what do your fresh eyes tell you is needed within the Euro zone? Forced fiscal union, the exit of one or more countries. Your presentation mentioned preemptive restructuring. Should that be on the table?
Well, starting with the first question, we basically discussed the process, where things were. Secretary Geithner ratified that he was encouraged by me participating in the process, that he's looking forward to this open process, and he didn't commit to any possible. He didn't commit in one way or in another. No, it was a good meeting. It was very fluid, and I appreciated the opportunity to share my points of view with the Secretary Geithner. Now, in terms of Europe, I'm not part of the discussions. And that's why what I decided here is to present what are the aspects that need to be taken into account, and what balance need to be stricken between policy adjustment, fund resources, and the participation of other stakeholders. That's a balance that, only the ones who are involved in the discussion can judge how to weigh each one of these three elements. But what I also point out is if debt sustainability is not assured, it requires a different type of solution. And that's a principle that the fund has upheld for many years, and I think it should stick to that. I think for me that's